Hello everybody, this is Loki and welcome back to Apollo Justice. We're continuing from where we last left off. Court is now in session for, how do I say that? Your Honor, the pity of Pergil. Right, his trial. Court is in session. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Prosecution today, okay, Air Judge? Very well, Prosecutor Devon. My opening statement, yeah? No. Actually, there was something else I wanted to ask you about. Yes? So you're going to visit someone in the hospital with an incurable disease. What do you say to them? Huh? I mean, you wouldn't say, get well soon, right? You don't be kicking them when they're down. What are you talking about? What are you on about? I'm actually gonna visit someone who's terminally ill. Right after the trial. The Chief Justice is done. I think he didn't want to say get well soon because he didn't want to be inconsiderate of their feelings. Because it'll be like the wrong thing to say if you're like terminally ill or something that's not really curable but manageable. He wanted to say the right thing instead of sounding like he saying the wrong thing. The Chief Justice? His son is afflicted with a terrible disease. He doesn't have long, it seems. So I thought I'd go pay him a visit. I thought saying something moving might be the order of the day. Why don't grown-ups ever just say what's on their mind instead of pretending? He's looking at me with something like disgust. Hey, what are you looking at me like that for? Yeah, what are you looking at me like that for, kid? In any case, I'm a bit busy today, so let's wrap this up quickly. Prosecutor Gavin, your opening statement, briefly. You're in luck here, Judge. I believe you'll be going on your hospital visit sooner than you think. First, to review the victim in this case. Romanian Latouche, age 35. The global manager for Diva Sanchez. The cause of death, blood loss due to a large shot by a caliber revolver. This report has all the details. The court accepts this into the evidence. 45 caliber, that's quite large, isn't it? A direct hit from that could knock a man off his feet. However, the bullet struck him in the shoulder. The damage to the body was slight. Death was not immediate. Sadly, his blood loss was so much that he could not be saved. I suppose the victim's condition could have been much worse, considering. I kind of felt bad for the guy who got shot. 2 shots were fired. 1 shot missed and the other penetrated and passed through the victim's shoulder. Both bullets were found in the wall at the scene. Observe the diagram. This is where the bullets hit. I see. The court accepts this evidence. So, he got shot from the other side of the room? Is that it? We're talking about a 45 caliber revolver. We must assume that the killer was adept at the weapon's use. Really? Yeah, apparently weapons that size have a powerful kickback. If, say, the judge tried to fire one, it'd break every bone in his body. The defense will take more care in choosing examples, please! As I was saying, the victim was shot backstage in a dressing room. The dressing room has only one entrance, the door. That does seem to be the case, yes? However, there were witnesses who heard the gunshots. You're talking about you and Emma, huh? Yet, when the witnesses entered the room, it was empty, save for the victim's body, of course. But that's impossible! Exactly. This murder was impossible. For all but one person? One person? That is, of course, the defendant. Only this defendant would have committed the crime. But how? It's quite simple. The circumstances of the crime seem to make it clear. Very well, I assume you have testimony backed up this claim. Please show the witness to the stand. Your name and profession, please. Emma Sky, I'm a detective for the police department. I was on security detail at the concert farm that night. Emma seems tired somehow. Security at the concert, you say? Some security I was. I couldn't even stop a murder. Now, don't blame yourself. Things like this happen. I made even bigger mistakes in my career, you know? I'm sure that makes her feel much better. Gee. I want to hear about these bigger mistakes. In any case, because you were on security detail, the crime was quickly discovered, and we were able to identify the killer. You may give the court your testimony if you could, or would. Describe the circumstances of that day and the discovery of the crime, please. Alright. I might as well. I'm behind this thing here. The night of the murder, I was on security backstage at Prosecutor Gavin's request. Only people involved with the concert in some way were allowed backstage. At the beginning of the third set, I heard shots. I went in the room filled with blaring rock music and found the body. I examined the scene and determined that only the defendant could have done it. It was lucky that the detective was the first on the scene. But that door was the only way out of the room, right? Yeah, pretty much. Then I don't get it. How can they say that Machi did it? It looks like we need a bit more information. Very well, the defense may begin the cross-examination. How would they know for sure that if he did it or not? I forgot. Oh, here we go. I almost forgot how to press because I haven't played this in a while. I have to press on everything. None of the murder with the night of the concert, yes. That's right. What was the detective doing on security detail? May I ask? If it was only a concert? My thoughts exactly. But orders are orders, even when they come from rock gods. I almost said rock and gods combined. Prosecutor Gavin? Yes, allow me to explain. I smelled something that day, you might say, the stench of conspiracy. That day, the concert hall. Conspiracy? Well, isn't it obvious? My keys, the whole morning, no. The whole day was ruined. And it's all because someone stole my keys. I couldn't ride my hog to the show. I couldn't open my guitar case. There he goes again. Isn't it possible he simply misplaced them? Misplaced them? Misplaced items don't just wander until murder victims hand on their own. Well, that's the point. Good point. It doesn't just wander into his hand. What's this? Prosecutor Gavin, if your keys were in the victim's hand, that makes you a prime suspect. But he wasn't even in there? Love slow acted adieu. I don't know how to pronounce that word there. Is waiting for you. He's singing something. Does everything with this guy have to be over the top? The killing happened in the middle of my concert. I was like a sailor drifting on the sea of sound. Anyway, I didn't want anything else stolen. So I put that detective with the most time on her hands on the task. I see, I can accept that. Well, I can't. What do you mean, time on their hands? It's like, what do you mean by that? We were let in though. I didn't know about that. I certainly didn't invite you. I gave the Fraulein special permission to be there. I wanted to see her again. Oh boy, did you hear that? We're officially involved now. Gee, great. Wonderful. Some other hangers-on tried to get backstage, but I drove them off. So no other outsiders were there then. And then... I believe we were having a chat when we heard the shots. You were the one chatting. I was eating snackaroos. Snackoos. Hey, no snacking in court. You sure? And you're sure the shots came from Lamar's dressing room? Yes, absolutely. Hey, I'm the one being cross-examined here. Here, this'll keep it quiet. Oh, thanks. So, how about Emma? We were right there. Hard to mistaken about that. Please, either talk or eat. Not both at the same time. Right. So after that, me and Mr. Lawyer here opened the dressing room door. I went in the room for the... What was it? Oh, we're gonna have to press on that one. Rock. Blurring, yes. When you say rock, are you referring to perhaps to this rock and roll music that's so popular these days? This rock and roll music that these kids listen to nowadays? That's right, when we went in the dressing room, music was blaring over the speaker on the wall. They piped sound from the stage into the backstage through speakers. That way people in the back can hear when they're supposed to be on stage. Did it have to be so loud? You don't listen to them with your ears. You feel it with your entire body and soul. I always had the backstage monitors at full volume. When we walked in the room, the band was playing Guilty Love, I believe, making it easy to determine the time of the crime. If you could hear that music playing, then everyone on stage for that song has an alibi, including myself. Yeah, that's true. Anyway, I closed off the scene and started my investigation. How could you know something like that? As I said, it was clear from the circumstances. Listen, we know there was only one exit from the room, that door. The small window could only open a tiny crack, and I was standing in front of that door. So how could the killer have fled the scene? There's only one possibility, the air vent. But how did they go up there so fast though? That's my question. How? But the air vent was too small. Who could possibly? Exactly. There's certainly no way you could get through, nor me. Only one could fit through, and that was a child. Child. Remember, access to those rooms was limited. Only those involved with the concert were allowed. And of all people involved with the concert, only one is small enough to be considered a child. That's Bennett? The picture of a radio that flitted up toward the sky and disappeared from the scene of the crime. Objection! But that just counted her. Oh, there was no other way out of that room. You were there, you should know, Air Forehead. It's funny how he calls him Air Forehead. And there is another vital piece of evidence. Evidence? What? Marks were found in the air vent grill. Traces that had recently been opened. Wait, what? And something else was found quite clearly. The defendant, Makitobi's... What? Order, order, order! And that air vent was the only way out of the room. The defendant's fingerprints were found on the grill. Well, Air Forehead? What fairy tale does this suggest to you? Ugh. Only one can pass through that vent, that doorway to heaven. And that one is our Pitsy. What are you looking at me, Apollo? Hey, I was out whooping it in the audience. So this was his decisive evidence? Quite decisive indeed. I believe that's enough of that. The prosecution has a rather convincing case. The only way in and out of this crime scene was watched, making the defendant the only one who could possibly leave the scene. Simple and decisive. I believe we heard enough to determine a verdict, even if it wasn't in a hurry to make the hospital visit. I'm sure Chief Justice would appreciate the gesture. Unfortunately, we have no direct witness. Fortunately, the criminal left a set of evidence for us. That will have to be enough. It can't be over already. Very well, I believe this trial is finished. If the defense had no contradicting evidence, the prosecution has presented our proof clear and plain. If we have contradicting evidence, it better be clear and plain. Apollo, they're got us in the ropes already. We better come up with something quick. I know. Think what can get us out of this. We need evidence or a witness that can prove he is innocent beyond a doubt. Without that, Mr. Justice, do you have contradicting proof that can overturn the prosecution case? If you do, you better tell us about it now. This is it. And so soon. If I mess this one up, it's all over. The court wants the contradicting proof. Have to look at this thing. Have to call witness. Prosecutor Gavin, you claim there are no witnesses to this crime. Are you absolutely sure? Absolutely, I swear on it, as my career as a prosecutor. And I'm a million-seller hit. There he goes again. That's too bad because there was a witness. Oh, really now? But how do you know? How do you come to process knowledge the prosecution that clearly does not? Because I'm the only one in the world that knows this. What's going on? You just talk to him and no. Yeah, he said talk to the lady. He said it clear as day. What? The victim said this before he died? Perhaps he did, and perhaps he did not. What do you mean by that? All we know is what Air Forehead says he said. But he really did say it! It's no testimony, especially since it comes from the defense attorney himself. But it's the truth. He said it. I even told you about it. But apparently you ignored me completely. It's my policy to fully investigate everything I deem relevant. Clearly, this rookie lawyer thinks he can tell me how to do my job. That's enough. Mr. Justice, we need a clear contradictory proof from you. This witness of yours unknown to prosecution. I hope you're right. Failure carries a stiff penalty. Perhaps a stiffer penalty than usual is called for. There's no backing out now. Let's hear the name of your witness, Mr. Justice.
Take that!
Recall Mr. Latuse's last words. So it refers to her. The siren. He meant siren. That's right. No, she was only on stage for the second set. And she had access to the backstage area. She could have been a witness. I see. Well, Prosecutor Gavin, my claim still stands. There's no witness to this crime. Very well. Let's hear it from the horse's mouth then, shall we? We shall take a break from Detective Emma Sky's cross-examination. Please show her to the witness stand. Wouldn't say nothing night of the murder. Not today, though. Today we'll judge the story out of her no matter what it is. It's my distinct honor to welcome the siren of the bell to our courtroom. You are too kind. You can speak English? Yes, I can. Though I'm not very good, there is much I do not know. You speak so well. Have you spent time here before? Actually, I do not know how I came by my knowledge of your language, nor where I studied it. What does she mean? She doesn't know. I too thought to call her as a witness, but I did not. I had a reason, of course. What's that? Suffers from amnesia. Amnesia? It's not my true name. Yet I remember nothing of the time before I was given it. Nothing of the time before I started singing on stage. Well, she's even more mysterious than I thought. As a louded singer, she lives a good life. There are little difficulties for her thanks to her success. Yet, I did not wish to subject her to unnecessary stress. I see. I care surprisingly little about people's past. You have nothing to fear in this court. Thank you. Yet, there's something I do not understand. I'm being called as a witness? What might I say? No one will tell me anything of what happened. Let me be frank. I did not want to ask you up here to testify. Yet that young gentleman with the wide forehead over there was adamant with what you stand. That you stand? A wide forehead. Oh my. Congratulations, Paulo. You're the bad guy. Yay! Bring on the confetti. Time to celebrate. Well, now that you're here, please give us your testimony. If nothing else, the sound of your voice is welcome. Tell us what you saw. Tell us what you saw at the night of the crime. As for what I saw nothing. That night I was invited to sing on stage, and this I did. I did not return backstage for the second set. Then I was led by the police to Mr. Gavin's dressing room and told to wait there. That's where I learned something happened, but I wasn't told the details. I must say, you sound wonderful just testifying. I hope he was too distracted to hear what she was actually saying. There you have it. She saw nothing that night. Now we can pray that the defense has sent to admit defeat and refrain from detaining her here longer than need to be. Wow, you just got better, Apollo. Way to go! Very well, Mr. Justice. Keep it short and sweet. Won't talk to me the night of the crime. She must know something, and I gotta find out what. I have to present something at statement 3.
Objection!
I'm sorry, but I'm having trouble believing you. You remember this brooch, do you not? Why, that's her. She was wearing it for her song. Care to add that to the testimony, Prosecutor Gavin? What? This brooch was found after the murder took place, at the very scene of the crime. What? How did your brooch get backstage if you did not go there yourself? And as Prosecutor Gavin had just told us, you had been wearing it during your performance that night. I like how, like, when she, like, is surprised that goes up. What's the meaning of this? Please explain. I thought you talk in another language. She says English is quite difficult. I've noticed when someone gets caught, they try to speak another language to act like they never understand English. It happens every time. I watched like some videos on YouTube, and I noticed that some of the people that got caught, they pretend they don't know English. That trick's not gonna work here. Your forehead may be large, but you're a lawyer, truly. But you have missed one important fact. What now? In fact, at the time of the incident, I went backstage, but only for a moment. What? Think back to the moment of the crime. You know whereof I speak? Is she really saying all that? What's she talking about, Apollo? Right when the incident occurred. Ah! Is she talking about that? Watch this room for me. I have to call for backup. Right, understood. You want me to make sure no one comes in, right? Oh, the thing he heard. That was her crawling in the air vents. I looked into the room just a glance, mind you. So this was when your brooch dropped? That explains that. It does. There was no other time I could have dropped it. But that's ridiculous. You only looked for an instant, but you dropped your brooch? That doesn't make sense. At all whatsoever. Air forehead? She has raised a possibility. The only thing that can counter that is evidence. So she looked in at the crime scene? Actually, I tend to go into the dressing room. I knew nothing of what had happened, of course. But the moment I opened the door, I heard a horrible voice. Air forehead is shouting, "Who's there?" No doubt. A horrible voice indeed. I closed the door immediately. Well, that explains the brooch. Let's return to her testimony. That's too convenient. She's hiding something. Yeah, she's definitely hiding something. Did you look into the room though, right? Yes. Testify as what you saw. Very well. Though it was only the briefest of glimpses. Okay, let's see. How do I press it? There we go.
Gotcha!
The world, but I've seen your heart. You were flustered during your testimony just now. I do not understand what it is you're saying. Perhaps this is a joke in your culture? She doesn't seem very flustered to me, Apollo. I'll have to do that again.
Gotcha!
There we go, got it. You got it! The late Mr. Latussa's body, you say? Yes. You know something more about Mr. Latussa's death than you're saying. What? I could see you trying not to remember, but the effort made you swallow. You cannot fool my eyes. It is true. It was so terrible after all. Why did Mr. Latussa have to be shot? One moment. Yes? What was that you just said? Why did Mr. Latussa have to be shot? Yes? She was hiding something. I knew it. I'm afraid you haven't realized it, but your words just now contradict your testimony. Eh? How could that be? Take this.
Take that!
Tell me, how did you know he had been shot? Eh? Well, immediately following the incident, a gag order was placed on scene. This is the document proving that. In your testimony, you told the court. No one told me anything about the incident. Furthermore, you testified that you had seen nothing. Yet you know that Mr. Latouche had been shot. How could you have known? Yeah, how can you know? You aren't hiding something from this court, I hope. That sweet song of hers was sounding a little too sweet. Now I remember. Please, allow me to add to my testimony. Of course. All we want to know is the truth. She looked kinda pale, huh? She saw something, I know it. Even the victim said so. Okay, let's see. Let's present the diagram.
Objection!
They call you, but lies are hardly become of such a creature. A put down worthy of our prosecutor, Mr. Justice. Such put downs are hardly become of you, Apollo. Stop polishing your forehead and start polishing your character, yeah? Come on, can I be cool for once? Observe the diagram. You looked from the door just for a moment, correct? Yes, that is so. There were bullet holes in the room, yes? But they were in the wall. The door is on. Huh? You see? Assuming you merely glanced into the room, you couldn't have seen those bullet holes. That's true. So true. Yes, I'm afraid the defense has raised a good point. It appears you have been holding back something. And I must tell you what it is that I saw. Yes, the happenings in this trial are being recorded. And I'm certain it will be in the news in Virginia. You understand your reputation is at stake. It falls to you to avoid tarnishing it. Personally speaking, I still believe that cross-examining her will yield us absolutely nothing. But she knew how Mr. Latouche died, and he named her as a witness. You must have seen something. Very well. Please continue your testimony. Very well. I shall. I was on my way from the stage to the backstage. That's it. There was something like a little window there. That's how I saw it. There were 2 shots. I couldn't do anything to stop it. But it wasn't Machi. It was a grown person. I know it was. So you did witness the crime. And the killer was a grown person, you say? This is my first time hearing this, I assure you. Nice play, your forehead. Very well, Mr. Justice. Oh, you almost called him Air Forehead, too? You may begin your cross-examination. Great going, Apollo. You were right about her. What's wrong? You don't look too happy. This whole thing smells fishy. That's what's wrong. Okay. Press on statement 5.
Hold it!
A grown person. That's a little vague. I'm sorry. My skill with your language is lacking, I know. certainly you could at least see whether the shooter was male or female. It was a man, a young man. And you're sure of that? Yes, his voice was quite clear. Voice? Looking at this diagram, it seemed the dressing room was quite cluttered. It does seem likely that you wouldn't have a clear view of the shooter. As a singer, I rely more on my ears than my eyes. When I hear a voice, I do not forget it. That voice was the voice of a man. So you heard a voice, but wait. Couldn't that have been the victim, Mr. Latouche? Absolutely not. Did I not just say that I do not forget a voice? If it was Mr. Latouche who spoke, I would have known. Indeed. So, you were at the window and you heard the shooter's voice, the voice of a young man. Apollo, this is a good testimony. That proves it wasn't him. Indeed. If that turned out to be true, it would cast this case in a considerably different light. What's the defense's opinion of the testimony? Though it pains me to say this, there's something about her testimony that rings false. Bravo, Air Forehead. You're colder than I thought. I'm sure you remember what the problem is as well as I do, Gavin. As has been established, no grown man can pass through the air vent. He can't have fled the scene of the crime. But that means she was lying. I know, and I know it's bad for a case, but I can't shut my eyes to this. Believe me, the idea was tempting. It is as Air Forehead says, yet this is not the only contradiction within her testimony. What next? What's he talking about? I understand why you would want to protect him. Yet remember, you're the siren of the ballad, and lies do not become such a creature. What does that prosecution mean? Apollo, what's he talking about? How come no one bats an eye when he says something like that? That's true. I recall the state of the crime scene quite well. The state of the room? Yes, and when the murder took place, that window was closed. I find it hard to believe you could hear a voice through it. What? But I'm sure. I have nothing but the highest regard for your musical sense.
Objection!
But she's the only eyewitness that we have.
Objection!
So you say. And the victim named her as the siren of the witness? That's right. That's what Mr. Latouche... We heard your claim. We even entertained the possibility and brought us to this. Air Judge? Yes. The prosecution requests that the witness be excused. Please. I'm afraid I must honor the prosecution's request. There is indeed a question of witness's credibility. But if Lemore can't testify, then we don't have a chance of proving Machi's innocent. This cross-examination is over. Prosecutor Devon, you may continue making your case. Thank you. Now, where were we? Yes, I would like to hear from President Detective again.
Objection!
Wait, let me hear her testimony one last time. But the cross-examination is already over. Until such a time as a need arises. This witness may leave the stand. Oh, crap. I'm sorry, I cannot be of more insistence. I think she apologizes. At last, back to the real child. Ready, Air Forehead? I hope I didn't just miss my only chance. Furlong Detective, how far had we gotten till we were so rudely interrupted? Don't ask me. She doesn't like him that much, does she? I just like saying the same thing twice. And I never repeat a song for an encore. If you would, Miss Guy. I believe I was saying that the only way Mr. Latus's killer could have escaped was through that air vent in the ceiling. Ah, yes, there was only one door in the room. And the witness to us was standing in front of it. The air vent was very big, you see. Kind of limit the people who could possibly get through. I certainly would have had a difficult time. You sure would, not that you would have been there in the first place though. Remember, the whole backstage area was off limits to people not involved in the concert. The only one who meets the conditions for a killer is the defendant. A virtuoso performance. I couldn't have put it better myself. She just stated a clear case. Though reading the report, something caught my eye. Oh? What that? The circumstances of the defendant's arrest. Circumstances? Again? Hey, that's right, Apollo. Remember when we found Machi? It was bizarre. She's right. Why did Mr. Latus's body disappear from the room? And on top of that stage tower, holding a guitar, no less. A perceptive observation, I judge. Thanks. It was kind of an accident, really. But you're working this job long enough. You get a nose for things. The judge sure seems pleased with himself. Very good, Fräulein Detective. Perhaps you can tie it all together for us? Why would the body move? And how does that lead us to the... I believe Machi stole the body because of some lyrics. He moved the body to match her song. No one in this country had the motive to kill the vet. All this evidence clearly points to the defendant. Song? Yes. The guitar serenade. You noticed it's code too, did you not? It's code. All the events that day followed the lyrics to our song. First, the keys my heart held on so tightly were stolen. The prosecutor Gavin's guitar burst into flames on stage. Mr. Latus's life was taken by a bullet. The rest hardly needs explanation. Guitar up together to the sky. That's mad. That's like a story out of some fairy tale. Yeah, that's true. I admit I've forgotten about the song. But there it is now, waiting for me, the grand finale as it were. Hey, you know I was the one who was first noticed that. I heard of jumping rope to songs and counting the songs. But killing? It's a wild world out there, Air Judge. That's true. Very well. We've heard one song and dance. Let's get on to the next. Cross-examination. I'm not sure I'm going to be doing much singing. That's true. I believe he stole the body because of some lyrics. So I'm gonna have to press on statement 4 now. I have to like do this. Let's see. I have to also raise an objection to this. What do you mean by his signature? The bullet holes in the wall, of course. The bullet holes. The revolver was fired twice. One shot missed and left a hole in the wall. That means what exactly? The dressing room isn't exactly spacious. Picture the shooter facing off at the victim in there. They can't have been more than 5 feet apart. It would be difficult, almost impossible to miss that range. Difficult to miss, you say? Very. Assuming the shooter could properly aim. No, you can't be serious. Machi, he can't see. That's why he missed? That's the only explanation that makes sense. He used sound and other senses to fire the gun. Poorly. That reminds me. The monitor in that room was blurring at the time, yeah? Hardly ideal condition for tracking by sound. A blind shooter. No wonder he missed. No wonder why he missed it. I knew those bullet holes would come back to haunt me. Think, Justice. What do I do now? Sure, there were bullet holes left in the wall. But that doesn't prove the shooter could see. Oh, how so? Well, there could have been a struggle with the victim. It's certainly possible. And it might have been the revolver's fault. The revolver? The revolver was a very large caliber, correct? If the shooter was able to used to firing such a large weapon, why could it dislocate their shoulder? Exactly. The defendant Machi, as you can see, tiny. Not so hard to picture him firing a gun and missing entirely. The kickback alone would throw off his aim. A convincing argument, to be sure. Yeah, it's convincing. Haha, take that, mud prosecution. Apollo? Huh? What? That bit about Machi being tiny and the gun throwing off his aim? Aren't you kind of, admitting that he did it? Oh. It did not matter why he missed. What matters is that the shooter was, without a doubt, the defendant. Even the defense seemed to agree on that point. Cripes, I really put my foot in this time. But let's get the facts of the matter on the record, if you would, felon detective. Very well, the witness will add this to her testimony. Please. Right. Okay, present the crime scene photo.
Objection!
The prosecution holds that the shooter couldn't see. A scientific conclusion based through examination of the crime scene, yes? Apparently not thorough enough. I have a certain piece of evidence that completely overturns your claim. What? This is that evidence. The photograph of the crime scene? I don't care for much for the smirk on Prosecutor Gavin's face. But this is no time to think twice. Time to press on. Yeah, time to keep going with this. Too late to back out now. Yes, Your Honor, the crime scene. No, Morgan Freeman. Yes, the crime scene. There is something in here that decisively contradicts the prosecution point. Then perhaps you best show us this something? Get your finger out of the breeze and put it to good use, yeah? Very well, show us what you're talking about, Mr. Justice. The contradiction in the crime scene is...
Take that!
Contradiction is right here. The smeared bloodstain? I thought it was just my blurry vision, but it really is blurry. The way the victim's hand is raised above his head. Much like a gesture that I have seen many times in this court. It's almost as if he wrote something? Aha, I get it. At least I think I get it. Get what, Felon? When Mr. Latouche was shot, he tried to write something. And what would he write about the shooter's name? And what would he write in it but his own blood? Pretty good, huh? Thanks for making it my point. Thanks for making my point for me. Yes, in fact, that's what I would think happened here. That does seem the distinct possibility. The victim wrote the killer's name. It's certainly a logical conclusion. Sure, I'll just wish it wasn't all rubbed out like that. Of course it's rubbed out. Why, if I were the killer, I certainly wouldn't want to leave my own name behind. Neither would I. No one has anything else to say? About what? So the prosecution accept this? You agree this was the victim making an attempt to record the name of the killer? And that the killer tried to rub the name out? What, and what's your point? My point? Let me ask you this. How did the killer know the victim was writing their name? Well, Mr. Latouche was writing something in blood once the killer saw what it was. Wait. Once he saw what it was? But what did you just testify about the shooter? I said they were blind. Ah! Yet the crime scene itself contradicted that. The killer had been able to see. Why would they rub out the name in blood otherwise? That's true. Why? May I remind the court that the defendant, Matthew, he couldn't have been the shooter. Possible. Order. Prosecutor Gavin, please explain to me what all this means. Tell it to me like I'm 5. I mean, look at this photo. It seems quite clear that the shooter can see. Yet up until now, it seems I owe the court an apology. The Gaviners are a band with law enforcement ties and murder occurred during our concert. Apparently, this caused confusion over jurisdiction. As a result, some reports were not filed in an entirely timely manner. I'm not sure I like the vibe I'm getting here. Hey Apollo, look at him. Why is Prosecutor Gavin all relaxed and smiling like that? You tell me. Like he knows something we don't, and he's about to tell us. I got an idea. Let's rock. With these documents, but before that, I have a question for the felon detective. If I may. What? Tell me. Why do you think that he is blind? Huh? What did he say? What are you saying? Of course he's blind. Of course? He's the blind pianist, remember? Right? So, doesn't she lead him around by hand all the time? No way. I have a report here on the defendant, Machi. According to this, he can see perfectly well. What? His blindness is merely a publicity ploy by these clever Bulgarians. He can see quite well. But you said... What did I say exactly? Their forehead not once in the course of the trial have I claimed the defendant was blind. The only one who did was felon detective. But that's a significant fact, yes. Consider Machi Tobae says, and he was the only one who could have fled through the air vent. I see no problem with this. But what about the bullet holes on the wall? Yes, the bullet holes. I believe the air forehead neatly explained that for us. He didn't miss because he couldn't see. It was the kickback from the caliber revolver. A simple accident, in other words. Ah, how's that? I'm afraid your objection just flown off for brighter skies. This is where the real fun began there, forehead. And you didn't have what it took? You jerk! Just what was I in here for? Comic relief? Yeah, apologize. Oh, sorry. That's no way to apologize. That's true. He's angered the true seed now. Look out. Yeah, be careful. If we please end the bickering now? Whatever. I'm not leaving. I can't leave like this. I'll come up with some clue to solve this case if it killed me. But your testimony has already given us enough to convict the defendant. Don't say that. Huh? Huh? What? This bloodstain? The criminal tried to wipe it off, right? That seemed what happened, yeah. We might be able to find out what was really went in here. Really? You can do that? That's right. With this. The luminol? Yeah, it's called luminol. Maybe if you know of it, it's a chemical that reacts to blood. Ah yes, we've done those tests yet. Have you done those tests yet? Huh, as if I'm gonna tell you. The blood stain covered in a section of the carpet. In order to perform blood test, that section was removed and submitted. Perhaps we should request it here in court now? There it is. Right, go for it, Paulo. Huh? I have to do the test? You just have to spray the luminol on it. Simple. Chemical that reacts to blood. I heard of this somewhere. Yes, they came in handy. Yes, I believe that in the analysis it's called for. Have at it. Right, ready? It says easy to apply. Just press S and spray in the area. Here, give it a try. The eyes of Tyre are focused on me. Apollo, your hands are shaking. Let's do this. Wow, it really works. This must be the power of science. It says IPSS 314206. Is that the killer's name? Maybe it is. If the killer was a robot. I have it. So what is it? I thought those letters IPSS looked familiar. This is an Interpol ID number. Interpol? You mean the International Police Agency? Yes. Most are undercover agents working to solve international crimes. But why would he write that number? Why would Mr. Latouche even know a number like that? Good show for a detective. Rock on. Eh? Your Honor, we can verify this number immediately. Darren, are you there? Come up to the witness stand. Darren, you heard what we need. Go check into this Interpol ID number. Sure thing. Give me 30 minutes. No, give me 27. I'm not sure what to think of all this. The prosecution case is airtight, or so it seems. Yet, if this number is really of an Interpol agent... Oh wait, I know. What if Machi were the undercover Interpol agent? That would be a possibility. Possibility, yes. And one that would mark him as killer for certain. Why did the Latouche know the Interpol ID number? That's what I want to know. Yeah, same here. Well, we have some time while we await Darren's report. Let's work on unraveling another mystery, shall we? A curious mystery concerning Machi. What are you talking about? Berlin detective, please accept my apologies. I received word that the defendant could, in fact, see just before the trial began. It seemed too much of a bother to tell you. You had me until the last bit. Does it not raise another straightforward question? Well, sure. Why did he pretend to be he couldn't see? Exactly. What do you think, Air Forehead? Huh? Me? He pretended to be he was blind. Do you know why? How can he know? Wait, Prosecutor Jaffa knows why, doesn't he? He's known from the start of the trial. He's been leading us on the whole time. Something wrong? Do you think perhaps this is some kind of a game? Do you think this is a joke to you? Know that the moment I heard that report, I knew why. Huh. I suppose people who have sold over 1 million records really are something else. What did that have to do with anything? There are reasons why Machi Tabai pretended to be blind, but it wasn't for his own sake. Get in the picture now? It wasn't for himself? Well, Mr. Justice, can you present evidence that shows us why the defendant was... Okay, get to show evidence here. No reason to pretend he couldn't see. Which means, no, it couldn't be. Could show her forehead? It seems you thought of something. Why can't I figure these out on my own? I hate having to take my cues from this guy. Very well, look at this. This is why he was pretending he couldn't see.
Take that!
That is. There's that lady. And Machitole. Recall their relationship. In particular, their unique arrangement over the years before visiting our country. They would always walk together, she leading him by hand. Even when they got on stage, she could lead him to the piano. She would walk away all the way over there with him. That's right, because he was blind. She led him at all times, never letting him go. All times. Yet we have just learned something that makes their arrangement particular indeed. Magic could see. Why did they have to keep up this whole time? Well, wasn't it part of their performance? I think there's a simpler explanation. Machi did not need to be led by hand at all. That can only mean one thing. Ah! Really? Really, it was all the other way around. The one who needed to be led by hand was Lemur. I don't know how to pronounce her name. Sorry, guys. So you mean to say that she's really blind? Yes, Your Honor. She is blind. What? What? Yeah, it's like the opposite. She's the one that's blind. Order! 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 This is crazy. Prosecutor Gavin. Is it now? Please. Please shed some sanity on this madness. The defense has made an outrageous claim. The only thing outrageous I see about the defense is his vast forehead. Yeah, wasn't she supposed to be the landscape painter in sound or something? Well, since we have her here, why not ask her yourself? I believe she's still in the witness waiting room. Apollo, what does this mean for our case? Don't ask me, I had no idea she couldn't see. I hadn't even imagined it until now. Bailiff, bring her in. I don't even know how to pronounce her name, so if you guys know how to pronounce it, let me know. It pains me deeply to call you before us again in this way, and yet I must. Please, do not be concerned on my behalf. Those eyes, she really can't see? Really? It is true. How funny it is that a tiny lie born in the Burgundian countryside would one day grow to take on the entire world. So you are? Yes, as I mentioned before. I have no memory of the time before I became her. I know too that my memories begin in darkness. The word light had no meaning for I see. You may recall me saying something toward the beginning of the trial forehead. What's that? I believe I said it was unfortunate that the crime had no direct witness. Ah, now, I must ask you to stand once more. Will you testify to the court about your eyes? Of course. It was never my intent to deceive any of you. May I begin, Your Honor? Yes, of course. Though I admit I'm a little lost here. I think we're all a bit lost here, Your Honor. You're not alone in that, that's for sure. I have no memory of the light. I debuted in the world of darkness and sound. My producer came up with my PR line before he knew this. So silly as it may sound, I had to pretend I could see. Everyone on my staff knew, of course, but no others. But this is a murder trial. I apologize, it was part of my contract, you see. I was to keep my blindness a secret no matter what. Music is everything for me, and I never imagined something like this would. She told us the truth in the beginning, when she said she saw nothing. Very well. Did the defense have anything to add? I'd like to cross-examine. But what is there left to ask? There's one thing left in her testimony that bothered me. Perhaps it's best we let you get it out of your system? Someday you'll come to understand the importance of thinking it for yourself. Very well. The defense may proceed. However, be aware that the court will not tolerate any questions deemed too stressful to the witness. Okay. There's only part in that bothered me. Just let me ask about that and I'll be happy. Yeah, then I'll be happy, camper.
Hold it!
When you say your staff, do you include Mr. Latouche? Of course, he was my manager. So he knew, and that's what's been bugging me. Something the matter, Mr. Justice? I believe I know what is bothering your young defense attorney. You are thinking of when you discovered the body, yes? Is he right, Apollo? Yes, I was. So he said that the siren saw, but Mr. Latouche told me to ask the witness and he named you. Why would he do that? He knew you were blind. I don't know. What did I just say? You need to learn to think for yourself. Meaning what? There's no mystery here if you recall everything he said. Think of his last words once more. The witness, siren? We heard them many times along with the little play acting by our defense. I remember them well myself, but that statement is not to what I refer. I mean what he said before that. Before? What came before that? Ah! That's right, he tried to tell you. When he said can't see, he wasn't talking about himself. He was talking about the witness. I see. Too bad the defense did not. He had the point there. Try relaxing and looking at the facts first that time. Ugh. That's true, he said she can't see. Order! Order! Recall Lamar's earlier testimony. I was on my way from the stage to backstage, but there were 2 shots. I couldn't do anything to stop it. But she couldn't have heard those gunshots. I thought we proved that. That's not the most important point here. The moment he was shot, Mr. Latouche witness heard through that window. Why else would he have then heard the witness? Ah, but I really did hear them. 2 gunshots and the man's voice. Unfortunately, such a thing was impossible. The window was closed. We have already run a simulation, of course. But it was so clear. If I heard that voice again, I would know in an instant. Your Honor? What is it, bailiff? Can't you see we're in a session here? We have the results back from the investigation. The investigation? Ah, the untold number that Mr. Latouche left us. Well, let's hear it. We'll continue his cross-examination afterward. Detective Preston, your report, please. I asked Interpol about the number. I'm sure you'll find their answer intriguing. Quick work as always, Aaron. Well, tell us about the number. Is the defendant a secret agent? The agent message that the number was Romanian Latouche. What? Our undercover envelope agent was Mr. Latouche himself. He was apparently in the middle of an operation. So when he wrote those letters, he was trying to tell us his own identity. And Cautious Killer tried to wipe them away. Mr. Latouche was an undercover Interpol agent, so him being her manager was just a cover, most likely. And there's one other important detail I found. Well, out with it. It concerned the .45 caliber revolver and the murder weapon. Apparently it belonged to Romanian Latouche. He had an Interpol permit to carry firearms, and the registration number on the revolver matched. So the victim was killed with his own weapon. Which makes sense. It's hard to imagine someone who was an Interpol agent with such a large revolver. So the victim was an Interpol agent on an undercover op. I wonder what that. I wonder how that ties into everything. It's got to tie in somehow, you think? Yeah, somehow. Thanks for looking into that for us, Detective Kristen. Great help. Oh, no problem at all, Your Honor. I'll be heading out. Wait! Is something the matter? That voice just now. Darren? Mr. Darren, is it? It was him. I'm sure of it. It was him? You aren't saying... That voice I heard talking to Mr. Latouche when I heard the gunshots fired. It was him. It was Mr. Darren. This is some kind of joke? What? No way. And everyone else shot. The courtroom fell into such a chaotic state the child had to be suspended temporarily. And I never seen that happen before. Of course, and not every day you get to get custom like that one. Occasion like that one. Pointing the finger at Darren Kristen. Not only is he a guitarist, he's a detective. Could it really have been his voice? Things were changing fast, and frankly, I wasn't sure I could keep up with it. Hey, no wimping out now, Apollo. Alright, that's pretty much it for this one. If you guys enjoyed the video, feel free to hit that like button below and subscribe for more videos to come. See you guys later. Bye, guys.